Have you ever made a simple home improvement only to find yourself at war with the HOA and one very entitled neighbor? That's exactly what happened to me when I moved my mailbox. Yes, just a mailbox. What started as a minor adjustment turned into a full-blown neighborhood scandal involving threats, lies, lawyers, and eventually legal trouble for Karen herself. Buckle up. This is how my mailbox got me into a war I never asked for, and how karma came knocking at Karen S.'s door. I had just moved into a quiet, neatly maintained suburban neighborhood. Everything looked peaceful. The homes were charming, the sidewalks clean, and the lawns well manicured. On paper, it was the perfect place to settle in. But what the real estate brochure didn't mention was that this neighborhood had an HOA with one of those types. You know the kind. The kind who thinks being part of the homeowners association gives them the power of a Supreme Court judge. Her name? Karen. Karen was the self-proclaimed enforcer of the HOA rules. She wasn't officially in charge, just loud, persistent, and always looking for a reason to file a complaint. Everyone warned me to avoid getting on her radar. Too bad I didn't get the memo, until it was too late. One afternoon, I noticed the position of my mailbox made it awkward for deliveries. It was way too close to the street, right at the curve of the sidewalk. Sometimes the mailman wouldn't even stop because the box was blocked by parked cars. So I did what any normal person would do. I moved it about 5 feet to the left. Same height, same style, just better placement. I thought nothing of it. That was until the next morning. At 8:03 a.m., I got a knock at the door. I was in pajamas, sipping my coffee. Standing outside was Karen, clipboard in hand, with the HOA rulebook practically glued to her arm. "Did you move your mailbox?" she asked, her voice drenched in passive-aggressive sweetness. I nodded. "Yeah, just shifted it a bit so delivery is easier." Her smile vanished. "That's a violation of HOA Regulation 14B subsection 6.2. All exterior structural changes must be pre-approved by the Architectural Committee." I blinked. "It's a mailbox. And rules are rules," she snapped. She stormed off, but not before threatening to file an official complaint. By lunchtime, I had a formal violation notice on my door. And just like that, Karen had declared war. I decided to read the HOA bylaws myself. Surprisingly, there was no clear clause about mailboxes needing pre-approval unless the design or material changed. Mine hadn't. It was the same standard black mailbox, just 5 feet over. So I wrote a calm, detailed letter and submitted it to the HOA board for review. Days went by. I thought maybe they'd drop it. Wrong again. Karen began patrolling my property, taking pictures of the mailbox every day like it was a crime scene. She sent emails to the HOA board, CCing multiple neighbors, accusing me of defacing the neighborhood and threatening postal safety. She even claimed I may be tampering with federal mail property, which is a felony. She wanted the HOA to fine me daily until I moved it back. Curiosity started spreading through the neighborhood. Neighbors started whispering, some amused, some annoyed. I overheard one say, "What's next? A lawsuit over bird feeders?" But then, Karen made her biggest mistake. One evening, I came home to find my mailbox gone. At first, I thought maybe vandals took it, but there were no signs of random mischief. No trash tipped over, no other property touched. Just one cleanly removed mailbox post. Then I remembered. Karen had threatened to handle it if I didn't comply. Outraged, I checked my security camera footage. Sure enough, there she was. 3:12 a.m., gloves on, flashlight in hand, ripping my mailbox out of the ground like a burglar. She had trespassed on my property and tampered with personal and federal property. That's when I stopped playing nice. I filed a police report and provided the security footage. When the officer saw the video, his eyebrows shot up. "She really did this at 3 a.m.? "Yup," I said. "She's been harassing me for weeks." The officer nodded. Tampering with mailboxes is a serious offense. We're forwarding this to the postal inspector and the city attorney. At the same time, I shared the footage with the HOA board, and suddenly, their tone changed. Apparently, this wasn't the first complaint against Karen for overstepping her boundaries, but it was the first time there was irrefutable proof. Within days, Karen received a cease and desist letter from both the city and the postal service. She was fined for trespassing, destruction of property, and interfering with federal mail service. And she was temporarily suspended from any HOA-related activity while the board reviewed her past complaints. Justice had arrived. News spread quickly. Even neighbors who had once quietly supported Karen now distanced themselves. I received a wave of supportive messages from residents, some even admitting they had been too afraid to speak up before. "She tried to write me up for painting my door," one neighbor confided. "She reported my kid's lemonade stand," another said. Turns out, Karen had spent years wielding the HOA rulebook like a weapon, and now it had backfired. The best part? After the investigation, the HOA rewrote their policies and required all committee members to attend a training course on boundaries, ethics, and communication. Karen didn't renew her HOA committee seat the following month. It is still wild to me how something as trivial as a mailbox could set off this chain reaction. But looking back, I'm glad it happened. Sometimes people like Karen go unchecked for too long because no one wants to make waves. But all it takes is one person pushing back, with the truth and a little courage, to bring the whole shaky tower down. So yeah, I moved a mailbox and ended a neighborhood dictatorship. And you know what? The mail's been delivered perfectly ever since. Ever been harassed by your HOA? Or maybe you've got a Karen living next door? Drop your story in the comments. I read them all. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more wild neighborhood drama. You never know what's coming next. See you in the next one.